I feel like this budget, there's a lot of saying, I will put money into this, I will put money into that. I honestly, looking back at the past 3-4 years, we have put a lot of money into a lot of different things, right? What's the KPI? What have we actually achieved? Maybe I'm too corporate, right? But there's that measurement of results that actually matters. I know the budget is for you to say what I'm putting my money into, but at the end of the day, is it really being effective?
Welcome to the TFC Budget Debate. I'm your host, Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut. I know you've been following me on socials. You know, I have a lot of things to say about the
Everywhere.
budget.
Like,
It's like,
stop
wow,
it.
a lot of things to say about budget, right? So we are here once a year to talk about budget, right? And I'm joined with my best co-host in crime.
Again?
Oh yes, for our audience that don't know you.
Yes, hi, I'm Anthony. I'm a co-host on TFC. Always got things to say. So that's why Reggie always asks me here.
Always got things, especially the big things, right?
Yes.
Full-time. Can you say you're a full-time lawyer, right? Everybody knows, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of things to say, especially in the infrastructure space. So later we talk a little bit more. We talk a little bit more. Today we have two new friends. So for our audience that don't know you, maybe you could introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sher-li. I'm the founder of Moms at Work. I'm a mother of two, and I also champion a lot of women rights issues. So very happy to be here and very ready for the questions. I've been told that there'll be a lot of questions. So
Of course! Right?
No, there'll be a lot of opinions that you have to respond to.
A lot of opinions. Yes. Just to be clear, right? Moms at work, all the moms must be working one.
No, it's helping mothers to stay employed. So mothers who've stepped out, for example, and they really want to come back in and it's really hard for them. We try to do that because it's, I think sometimes there's a lot of bias.
Is it really very hard?
It is.
Can you share
Especially
with us
the
a little
older
bit?
they are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of age bias as well. And age usually for women starts at about 40. So if they've taken breaks, so some of our moms have stopped work for about maybe, I think Imran knows this because we know each other from way back, anything from 1 year all the way to 12, 15 years. And when they want to come back in, no matter how they try, it's really quite hard. So over the last 15 years, we've got about 68,000 moms now in the database. Yeah, but that shows you how much there is out there. And then there are women who are working full-time, wanting to switch to flexible. So they also come and ask for guidance and support.
Okay. So Imran, for our audience that don't know you, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Imran. I'm a father of 3 and I'm a marketing director with the
So
investment
today we're
platform.
going for like how many kids? How many kids?
Okay, so I'm a father of 2.
Enough. Yes.
But essentially, I do marketing for an investment platform called BigFundr. And it's actually great to reconnect with Sher-li today because when I first met you, I was not married yet with no kids. And
Very
now
happy and carefree.
Now my wife is 40.
Less carefree now.
Exactly what you just said. Let me out there. Get me a gig again. So I'm like, okay, let's go.
Come look at me.
So as usual, we split our discussion in 2 parts, right? I think the first episode is always the longest one, right? We have many other episodes to come that will go into the more granular details of different things. But for the first episode, 2 parts. Part 1 is the economy, and then the second part will be more family, social, all those type of like more how to spend that thing, right? First one we talk about earning, right? So the first part will be the economy. So anybody wants to take a jab, right? What is the thing that stood out to you in the budget for the economy?
I feel like this budget, there's a lot of saying, I will put money into this, I will put money into that. I honestly, looking back at the past 3-4 years, we have put a lot of money into a lot of different things, right? What's the KPI? What have we actually achieved? Maybe I'm too corporate, right? But there's that measurement of results that actually matters. I know the budget is for you to say what I'm putting my money into, but at the end of the day, is it really being effective, right? And then there are a lot of very granular, announcements like private credit fund.
Okay.
As a lender, a big question mark. I don't quite understand.
Yeah.
A lot of talks about reskilling, about AI again, and this maybe leads into the social part. But I think the general gist of the message is we will be here to help you, but you need to help yourself.
Okay, yeah, but that is PAP stands
But I
forever.
think
Right?
that's
It's always been like that.
It's always been
No,
that.
but so last year when I talking about this, we're like, maybe there's a bit more of a social net. We are softening a bit, and then now this year the message that I kept hearing was no, you need to retrain, you need to reskill, you are responsible.
Okay.
Right?
I know what you mean.
We are not moving towards a UBI.
I know. Oh no, we are not. I don't think we will ever be.
We are going. If AI changes the economy, you need to retrain.
Yeah.
And you need to find a new job. And maybe we get into your point about ageism and things like that because you are retraining all these people who are 40s and then be left behind. Then you can give them a diploma all you want. Doesn't mean that they can get a job.
Yeah. But I think this was the thing.
People channel, that's why we talk about these things.
No, but we are.
We are in that space.
I thought this is an interesting point because I actually brought this up at some of those forums and discussion, and I said, we've done a lot of work. We're trying to encourage the individual to take ownership, right? And we've done that pretty well, actually. I mean, like you said, I put the money out there, have this training. Good or bad, we don't know yet. And to your point, you can actually be qualified, go and study, but if the employer does not want to budge, there's nothing you can do, right? And so I actually said, can we stop doing this, but we train the employers to rethink the way they do things, right? And if we invest our money there, we might actually have better results than just purely asking the individual to say, you can get all the certs in AI, but if no one wants to look at you, what can you do, right? So that's something I still believe in now, which I was hoping more for from the budget this time. Maybe it's not ready, I don't know, but hopefully in the long term we do that.
Yeah.
We need to attack both ends of the scale, right?
Yeah,
we can't just
keep
put it
on
all on the individual.
Yeah, that's why I don't know lah. Okay, maybe this is step one. We
okay,
ask
only
the
PC one, okay one.
Yeah, no, but if you think about it, it's letting the individuals develop it. Then you can turn around and tell the employers, yeah, I trained for you already, all trained already. What's your excuse now, right?
Actually, for employers' perspective, if you think about it, if you get a 40-something-year-old who has given birth, gone through all the maternity, all the paternity, you don't need to give them paternity anymore.
Last year,
28-year-old, oh no, need marriage leave.
Need to plan forward,
need to plan
everything.
Actually,
so
you know
many
what
changes.
You know what to expect from a 40.
You know what to expect from the older people.
And they're more,
So-
usually they're more like, okay, I'm into this, I'm going to go this long haul with you.
So it's not
To be
necessarily
honest.
a bad thing.
It's never been.
Yeah.
So the employers might disagree with you,
Okay,
but
just to add my point of view on this, right? The best training is on the job. Right? That means if you're on the job, you are always getting a frontier. When I send email to people, the auto reply out for training, right? So I think it's also about adjusting everybody's expectation that we are not training these people to be the best of the best inside the industry, right? We're just training them to get a foot in the door.
Yeah.
Right? So with that type of expectation, I think people should understand that, okay, we are only going as far as possible to get this person to go through the door. So if let's say they need 10 skill sets, maybe we get them up to 6.
Yeah.
6
and
or
then the
7.
rest they go in
and then the rest go in.
Yeah,
so there might be some bridging that needs to come in. Maybe the industry might need to come in with some sort of like a bridging on the job training thing. And then once 6 months, they become sticky in the process. Then you convert naturally. So we may need some of that thing, right? But I never thought of it from that point of view because previously we did talk about this, like this social safety net element, right? But now it does feel like we are kind of like...
It's all individual responsibility.
Yeah, back to the... Although there's the whole like, okay, 3,000 per month if you do a certain type of skills upgrading, right?
Yes.
And then there's also some sort of $1,000 for job search and all that. But
it's all for the government to help you to get a job.
Yeah.
Right? It's the government to help you to catch up.
Yeah.
So that you are not left behind. No Singaporean left behind.
Yeah.
He said that.
But anyway, we're not saying it's bad, right? We're saying that this is the reality. As much as there was an attempt...
this is where the government is focusing.
Yeah, as much as it did sound like there was an attempt previously to try to shift this a little bit, it feels like we are back on the like help me to help you right type of situation.
No, but we always have to have that mid-ground approach because essentially when I wrote an op-ed with CNA about me having a tough time getting a job at 49, when that went out, I received a lot of messages from folks who said, help me get a job, right? And I'm like, okay, first and foremost, I was telling you about how hard it was for me to get a job because of ageism.
Doesn't mean I can help you.
Doesn't mean I can help you, right? So
read the message.
Missed the message here. Yeah, but essentially there is that sense of employee entitlement in a huge way. And I don't think it is completely the employee's fault. I think it was by design something that was kind of nurtured along the way because we did build a situation where everyone says, oh, Singaporean employment is high, it should be high, I should be employed no matter what. Right? And then in this case, we are saying, okay, if that is the case, then for this year, help yourself, even though the job market is bad, you got to get out there, do what you need to do. But I'm not sure how that will actually translate to the actual employee market, understanding that this is what you're supposed to do.
Yes. So sometimes I think we are not direct enough to say, like what we're saying here, please help yourself, like do something.
The government cannot say that. They want an election.
So that's why we say.
So we say.
Because you can see the mindset of employers too, right?
That's why when the whole mainstream media is talking about the ang pao galore, right? Your CDC vouchers,
which
your
is, nice
SG
lah.
$60, $600,
can eat more
all
chicken
that,
rice.
right? Which to me, right, it's just 101 ways to try to give you money. Okay, whether is it the NS
no
credit last
matter
year,
whether it's 58,
whatever,
59 or 60,
doesn't matter.
sure there's a number
got
for you to
some sort of
get
number
Next year
out
can be
there, right?
$610.
Yeah. So whatever it is, right? So they are finding all sorts of category to give you number. I think there's some wisdom to this lah, because you don't want a $3,000 CDC voucher. It becomes an entrenched ecosystem, right? So you try to find all sorts of reasons to give people the money.
But to say that it's one off.
Yeah, to say it's one off, right?
Milestone
To
reasons,
adjust expectation. This is important. But truth of the matter is there's more money slushing around, right? So this is actually not a very good sign from my point of view. Okay, if the belief of the government of the day is prudence, right? It's fiscal prudence, and the closing they did talk about like, oh, you know,
we still have a surplus, right?
Yeah, we have a surplus, right? So we have a surplus for the past 2 years, you know, and if you look at the past decade, there's been surplus every year except for the COVID year, right? So if that is the prerogative of the government of the day, that means we must be physically prudent, and if you throw too much helicopter money around, it creates inflation, right? So if these are the baseline assumption, it means that things are not so good lah. That's why you need to throw helicopter money around, you know, to keep the economy moving. From my point of view.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think there's two things, right? One is maybe that's right. This is really a fiscal measure.
Yeah.
Right? It's putting money into the economy and it's trying to direct money into the economy that helps small businesses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? That's why it's a CDC voucher. You can only spend at
Certain types of
regional
CDC economy.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a fiscal measure, right? It's injecting money into the economy at a very consumer level.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have the whole macroeconomic thing.
Yeah.
Money flows through the system, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? But I think your basic assumption number 2 about this triggering inflation might not be right. Because at the end of the day, a lot of our inflation is really from imports.
Yes.
If we're not the US where it's a lot of local demand that brings that inflation in. It is a difficult problem. Right? But you know, I think it's good lah. I mean, who doesn't like more money? I like more money.
As much as it's like, you know, can buy ice cream, can buy waffles and CDC voucher, right? For me, it's really important because I used to buy adult diapers for my mom, who has dementia. And to me, that's a really, really good thing. The CDC voucher to me, as much as a lot of people like kind of joke about it, like to me, it's important, right? I grab my dad's one, I grab my mom's one. What you need, guys, I grab the vouchers and I spend for you. Again, I'm not saying that it's the best thing ever. No, I can see that, you know, somehow all these little ang paos are like defocus on the KPIs you spoke about.
For family, those with families, frankly, you really do see the impact. Like say supermarket, it does take off a few weeks of shopping.
This year got a few $1,000s add together worth of these type of vouchers, right? Okay, so to be clear, okay, we are not saying CDC vouchers are bad.
No, we like it.
Yeah. So okay, but from TFC's point of view, this is a big question mark, right? Why you need to float so much money in the market, right? So from this point of view, then the question we need to bring back to the economy, right? What is the big strategies for the future, right? So like nuclear power, right? That's a big thing, right? Because he talked about it, you know, and I'm very amazed, and none of the mainstream media brought it up, right?
That was so interesting though, because it was just all these things suddenly nuclear power, and I thought,
So,
did I catch it wrong?
And they said nuclear before ASEAN Power Grid.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things with the EMA over the past 3-5 years has been, let's be an ASEAN Power Grid. Let's import power from Indonesia, from Malaysia. We are linking the grid to Laos and Thailand and using Laos hydropower to bring power in. We are connecting a cable from Perth, right? That's bloody far away to Singapore to import power in. So, you know, that's always been the integrated power grid. And this year we said nuclear. Like, you said feasibility of nuclear, right? So it's very different.
Just warming the ground lah. Come on.
No. So there's a difference.
Actually.
So because traditional nuclear is very simple. It's like 1.5, 2 gigawatts, huge plant, right? Like Simpsons. Big plant. Then the question is, where do we put it? Because there is a problem there. And what it seems to be the case is we're not really talking about nuclear in a traditional sense. We're talking about nuclear in SMRs, right? Small modular reactors.
Yes.
So that it's easy to build, you know, you can kind of put the same power plant everywhere.
Yeah. And less land dependent.
But the problem is that each SMR is 300 to 500 megawatts, right? So that is the size of a decent solar farm. Well, in Indonesia, that's the size of a decent wind farm somewhere else. So this to me, like if we ever do nuclear, it's about energy independence.
Yeah.
Right? We are happy with relying a bit on our neighbors for power, but we need to have our own source. Right? That's why we had LNG, you know, as electrical power. And now we have maybe nuclear, which will cost you money because I bet somebody last week that within 10 years, we will not have a nuclear plant.
Okay.
So
Lose
this is immediately costing me money. He texted me after the budget. So,
Hey, so
you need
how?
my PayNow number?
Send you my code. Yeah. This is correct.
But if you look at all the measures, we are looking inwards and trying our best to be more independent because global trends are really, if anything else, the last few months only, okay, don't need, because obviously the huge changes that are coming. I think there seems to be a fear that things get cut, things change. So this is independence, but nuclear was really, for me, very unexpected.
On this point, I don't think we are looking inwards, I personally don't think we are looking inwards. I think we are looking regionally, right? First and foremost, we are looking regionally. If not, we wouldn't have the JB Special Economic Zone. We would not pressure Sunway to build the RTS on time, right? So there are all these things that we're doing regionally. And from my understanding, there's been a lot of flights around, Singapore government going to Malaysia to look at clean energy sources, right? So there's been a lot of these things around, and there was a commitment to import 1/3 of clean energy, in the budget. Right, so to me, this is just a risk management.
No, but I think
strategy.
You have to look at it holistically, right?
Yeah.
It's okay. We need to have that green transition. I think Singapore as a country is still committed to that.
Yes.
Right. Then it's just the many aspects of how do we integrate the transition. We want renewables, sorry, got no land. Right. And then you also import we have a lot of countries with a lot of land. And what we have is money to help them.
Yeah. Fair.
So there's that. There's nuclear, which is more of an independent story. That if something goes wrong and I cannot import because people cut my cables, don't worry, I have enough to sustain myself.
I think looking inwards, I got that wrong. What I'm trying to say is more self-dependent.
Yeah.
We've been trying to do that with food resources and everything.
Which is very difficult. So
because our greatest fear is we get cut off. Someone cuts off something.
But the reality is that Singapore can never survive when it's closed.
Yes.
Like, if we do get into a regional war, no matter what we do, we are kind of screwed.
Yeah.
You can only kind of find a stall the inevitable, right?
Yeah.
But with that said, then that means whatever we do from this point onwards, even the nuclear pension, is the fact that we're always having plan B to a plan B and a plan B and a plan B, plan C, plan D. We constantly have to, because we will not survive on our own.
Our dependence on others is very strong.
Fair. So on this energy discussion, right? I think we need to contextualize it for the industry, right? Because truth be told, Singaporeans there are only so many Singaporeans here, right? We only need so much energy, but a lot of our energy coming in is for the industries.
Yep.
Right, so that is what we are playing. That's the game we are playing, right? And there was a whole discussion around DNA chips, in the budget as an example, right? For high-end manufacturing, and this type of manufacturing is very space dense, energy dense. It's very tight. Not a lot of people need it, and it's great for Singapore because not a lot of people. Very expensive. Singapore is very expensive. Not a lot of people need it. Not a lot of space needed. Stable energy source, stable water source, and the port. Build, go.
But doesn't provide for a lot of employment.
Exactly.
No, it does not.
So that is the discussion, right?
Yeah.
So that type of high-end manufacturing, we will continue to pursue because we have natural advantage in it, but it does not provide for serious employment, right? We will very likely continue to play down a few main paths in the economy, right? One is finance, right? Very clearly stated. One is high manufacturing. One is research. And the last one is probably the logistics hub. And then some tourism. STB budget quite big one. Okay.
Yes.
STB budget. Anything you can think can turn to tourism.
They
very
will
big.
done.
NAC budget very small, but STB budget very big. Okay. So these are the few main thrusts of the economy, and it's very clearly shown in the budget, right?
Yeah.
Whether is it trying to create a deeper SGX, trying to solve this thing. Why Bursa so exciting, SGX so lame? trying to solve that, or whether is it trying to solve the energy, transition so that we can continue to keep high manufacturing here, or whether is it automated ports, right? Now the Tuas port is like roller one, only people one, right? So all these things are moving down the future of the industry.
Yeah.
Right. But exactly like what you say, right? Is may not hire a lot of people. Yeah.
So I think the question then becomes, what do we do with the manpower? Like what we said earlier on, what do we do with all these people who lose their jobs or have no more jobs? So that's why the whole discussion about AI and all that and pushing them into that. Actually, the gap is huge, between what is going to be needed in the future and what is on the ground. So don't talk about the young people, because the idea is always the young people can mow, can do everything, can change the schools, right? That's the impression we always get on the ground. But it's this group, like we said, people like us are actually our age group. What are we going to do with us? How are we going to change what we know to match what we want in 10 years' time? Because technically 10 to 20 years' time, we should still be working, you see. And I think that is the biggest challenge that we are all facing.
Yeah. So my point of view is a lot of people could lose jobs.
Yes.
It's
coming.
And that's my point of
I
view.
think so
right?
too.
And that's why financial independence is important.
Yeah,
Right? So that if-
plug back to TFC, thank you.
if the worst comes to pass, and I mean that's my own personal reason for wanting FIRE, right? It's not retiring early, it's financial independence.
Yes.
So if the worst comes to pass, you know what? I have enough.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I cut back on all my frivolous spending. I use CDC
Less ice
vouchers.
cream.
Yeah, less ice
Less
cream.
waffles.
No, use CDC voucher for ice cream.
Use CDC vouchers for something else, for groceries.
Yeah.
And then I can survive last. And that leads back to, again, personal responsibility, right? Like, I feel like I cannot depend on being able to have a job because the future is unknowable.
Yeah.
So I need to save now. I need to maybe be more prudent. I save a bit more, I invest a bit more so that if the worst comes to pass, I have a backup plan.
Just look at the plan. Look at the plan. The plan is telling you are not part of the plan, right? And it's not by virtue of choice, right? It's not that the government don't want you to be part of the plan, but finance, logistics, high-end manufacturing, research, you are not in the plan.
But that is a side effect of increased productivity. Increased productivity means you need less people.
Yeah.
But it's the nature of how things are changing.
Yeah.
You don't want to change the rest of the world.
So just to be clear, the government's not targeting you. What I'm saying is what is not said in the speech, but based on read between the lines is what it is. So let's say we use research as an example. Singapore said we're going to spend more money on research, right? But the truth of the matter is no amount of STEM education is going to create a whole generation of STEM. Okay, we are trying to do research. There's only an X amount of people that can do research, right? So most Singaporeans will be priced out of this game anyway, right? So we'll be bringing all sorts of people from all around to come in to do this. So in order to do this research game, we need to continue to keep the doors open, right? And then the government will spend a lot of money. So all these researchers will like take their project and come here and say, hey, can I research here? That thing. And then where I'm trying to go with this is Singaporeans can participate in the productization of research. Okay?
We are not thinking about breakthroughs in research and, getting a Nobel Prize winner. We are thinking about, okay, we have a theoretical research. How do we make this a market? How do we sell something? I think we are going to the same point. Right? Just that I'm coming from a point of, we do have people, but there might not also be the same opportunities.
No, but at the apex, you cannot govern the apex in that sense, right? Because truth of the matter is there are only X amount of people that will succeed in research.
Yes.
The interesting part is that part where we're talking about, right? Where more Singaporeans can participate in, okay, so with this, right, we take this active component, we put into a product, we create a new line, right? And that's where bulk of the business will be at. And that's where I think more Singaporeans should think of, right? There's a research center around. There's so many also. There's some research really quite weird one.
So we are going back into our status as a financial hub, right? We help commercialize the discoveries. We help create business models.
Our strength is that.
And that is where you just need more people.
Actually, what it is, we just have a lot of people who know how to trade. That's something I learned over the years.
It's great, what?
The products are there. You know, when we run this group of what we call mompreneurs. Our mompreneurs are very good at like, I spot this thing overseas. How am I going to trade with it? Whereas when we partnered like Japan mompreneurs, the Japanese mompreneurs came, they had all these brand new ideas of using AI. Like you said, they research things, they partner university students to do research. You can see the difference, That group of entrepreneurs were more like, from nothing, I find something. Ours was, what do you have? Let me see how I can make money from that. Which I thought that maybe is really our strength after so many years, And I don't think it's a bad thing.
Operational people.
So I think it's important for us as TFC to talk a little bit about SGX.
Because they are our friends.
I mean, we are friends, but they don't spend with me. I'm very annoyed, So that's
they're friends.
Yeah, so they're friends. We're not allies. We're merely friends, right? And the government has convened a group, right? So I already know about this group from a while back because we're in the industry, and they have come up with a suggestion for some tax incentives for listing. Right, so this is back to the story of trying to deepen some of our core industries, and finance is one of them, right? So people talk about like, Bursa doing so well, why SGX not doing so well? Okay, so there's this tax incentive that the government is trying to put out for people to set up funds, or like list in SGX right? So I asked around some of my friends. They are not random people on the streets, so they are Lisco bosses, they are CEOs, all that. So I asked them, and they tell me, Reggie, this is very simple one. Finance people are very shrewd one. Right, so finance people will go to where they can make the most money. So if today I can list my company for 500% compared to list my company for 200%, I will go to a 500% place, right? So that's why everybody is listing in NASDAQ, including Jian Hao. Right? So I think you're the only survivor in this category and you're going for a listing. So it's like the YouTube legend in Singapore getting listed, but in the US, right? So personally, it seems like maybe it's a right direction, but there is not, it's not a big move lah. So without going into 2 months, maybe you want to share some.
Yeah, no, I think this is just a way to try to improve exits opportunities, right? So to me, it isn't about the activity on the SGX. It's about helping startups and.
But I feel like they want it, leh.
No. So they want people to come onto the SGX, right? And then if we have a available list, because not everybody can list in.
Yeah,
of course.
The idea is that if you can create a viable path to exit, you get more PE, you get more VC in, because their investment opportunities have the ability to exit.
Yeah.
Right? And then you bring more money in, you foster a more vibrant startup ecosystem, and then ta-da, problem solved. Because all these entrepreneurs will create jobs.
Yeah, that's
so you create like a little ecosystem.
So to me, this is building a chain in the ecosystem.
Because we spend on the VCP previously already, right? So we have a lot of matching funds.
Complain, no exits.
Okay, potential. That's one way to
That's why it
think
focuses
about
on IPO. It doesn't focus on like reducing, regulatory outreach when you are listed, right? It's about making it cheaper for you to get listed. So hopefully you can.
But the crux of the matter is still that if today, because the government cannot be on the whole cap table, right? So government maybe at the end of the whole cycle in listing, right? Maybe 20%. 30% maybe lah. Different government entity invest in it. I think that's kind of generally where. And the founder only got 5%. A very sad one. But yeah, so you try to get them to exit into the market. They will still seek for a bigger market. They will still seek for a bigger exit as much as possible. And I don't think our government is the type that say, hey, you take my money, you must list on SGX, right? So we are not at that level, right? So we will say, okay, exit, let's see where we can exit, right? So SGX still, it's probably a step in the right direction, but it's not far enough.
It's not
going to change much, right? So, and let me share my point of view as a creator in this space, right? Is that there is really no incentive to talk about SGX stocks. Okay.
I've always been sad. I want to talk about SGX stocks.
There's really no incentive to talk about it. Because why? Because the fund managers spend with the brokers, right? Because the brokers now have kind of vertically integrated in the media landscape. They have their own offering and all that, right? So they will spend with them so that they can get direct data. Okay, but the brokers are also not idiots, right? So they will only talk about you when you give them money, right? So they are not very active in trying to promote SGX stocks anyway. The exchange that is not spending, the brokers are not spending, the fund houses are not spending. Or they spend on very narrow channels, and some of the listcos they want to spend, but their budgets are not that huge, right? So they will spend a little bit here and there. So in other words, it's very hard to run regular programming. It's very hard to run shows, to talk about companies, brand founders, brand all these companies. It's very difficult, right? And actually MAS, right, has a budget allocated for research writing, right? So I can't remember the exact name, but MAS will pay you a few $1,000s to write a research, okay, about a company listed in Singapore, right? So there's something like that. So MAS, maybe we can open up the criteria of what is considered research, right? We can open up the criteria of why, because you need to flood the market with, stable, financing sources. Then we can keep talking about it. Then it makes financial sense. If not, you'll close shop already, right? That's why I made a decision to reduce my coverage on the SGX, discussion, right? So all the Singapore stocks, it's not that there's nothing interesting. It's just the same old. That's one thing. But there's really no hype. You want to market make, you must have hype in some sense, right? So that flows will come in and all
excitement.
that. Yeah, you need excitement. So excitement need to spend one. No spend, no excitement. Okay, so that wraps up our economy discussion, right? It's nothing big and fancy this year, I would say, right? It's a lot of, you read in between the lines, you kind of see where the direction is, right? Continued investment in big infrastructure, trying to deepen the finance category, trying to, do more research so that we can productize downstream, improving our logistics category, maybe some tourism, some of these other things, right? So that is the main. And if you didn't watch, I think 8 Wo did an interview with Chee Hong Tat, and Chee Hong Tat said, finance got a lot of jobs. That's what he said. So you want to design, you want to do anything, all can join finance, right? So there are many ways. Yeah. So that wraps up our economic part of the discussion. Now let us move to part 2, which is the social family. This year we didn't leave a lot of time for social family because there's not a lot of new things.
There are.
Okay, maybe come share with us. Yes.
Okay, first thing, I was very surprised to find out yesterday that having 3 kids is now considered large family.
Yeah.
Like, wait, I'm in a large family?
Yeah.
So that was quite surprising to me, in that now there are large family, like, bonuses and incentives moving forward. And I looked at my wife and we were thinking, oh man, we just missed the boat by 7 years.
You can have another one.
Factory closed already.
Oh, okay.
So essentially, to me, it was great news, but we kind of missed the boat a little bit on all these great incentives because, okay, I'm a very different person now that I'm a dad, mostly because earlier part of my career is mostly me doing a lot of frivolous things. I didn't really do stuff for money. I just did for fun. So up to a certain point, I realized, I need to earn money, right? So I started later.
I think you're not alone now.
Yeah. No, I honestly did.
You're not alone.
A lot of stuff for fun, right? The writing, the production, the TV stuff. So only now that I'm really truly beginning to appreciate what all these incentives really do for my family. Because single income family, I got 4 people to take care of. On top of that, I got aging parents I'm also taking care of. So all these really add up. And I know that a lot of it is used to kind of defocus some of the bigger things that we talked about, the KPIs and so on and so forth. But I can't help at this stage of my life looking at it saying like, oh, okay, good, I'll take it and run with it. Because at the end of the day, right, I know, right, I don't think I can retire.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that too.
All this fire talk, all this, to me, it's not even at the back of my head.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep on going no matter what. Because number one, I don't think I should stop. Because my kids will always need my help. My parents will always need my help as long as they're alive. And number 2, I don't think I can stop. I will continue working no matter what. I'll just find a way, right? Knowing what I know after 15 jobs, I've had 15 jobs, that there is, as long as I'm able, 2 hands, 2 legs, have a brain working, I can find a job, right? And that goes back to the earlier discussion about how so many employees are saying, oh, I need a job, give me a job, get me a job. It's not about that, dude. It's about you actually finding your space. You need to find a space. You need to be good at something. Don't just say, someone give me a job. Be good at something, pitch you as a good, viable employee, then we got something to talk about.
Yeah.
Right?
Bro is on a grind set. The grind set doesn't stop.
Man.
No.
But maybe share with us a little bit about the state spending on families, right? So at what point is it truly enough? Are we trying to go into a situation where the state essentially feeds the family? You still want to keep that local core, right? That Singaporean core that's been here for a few generations. So what is enough?
I think it is not enough based on the expectations of the parents.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you put it logically, if I want to just feed my kid and get through basics of life, technically it is possible. On the way here, I was thinking, I was trying to estimate how much I spend per month on the kids. And then as I'm thinking some things actually don't need to buy. You don't have to drink the best whatever. You don't have to, there's always give and take. So the question about being enough is the real issue because people's definition of enough is very, very subjective. Between him, me, you, all 4 of us,
all different.
The way of how we say we give enough to our kids, it's all different one, And I've always said this, and I still believe it. It isn't just about money. The reason why people don't have kids and children is always tied to things like the PSLE, the way the work environment is for working parents and all. So there's a whole thing, Until that changes, no one will pump out kids. I mean, let's be very frank, right?
That's what I said last
So
time.
I always tell, and I told
Yeah.
MOM this before. I said, look, this is not about MSF's job. It's not just asking people. Yeah, we all love families. Who doesn't want a family?
I can imagine
it's
MSF
beautiful.
in the boardrooms like, give me more money.
No, but you can see this, right? MSF is doing this alone. MOE has to come in to support, and they're trying to do that.
Yeah, they're trying to do that.
Yeah.
They know the different pathways to success and all that. And then you have also MOM and saying that can we? So actually, it's all together, and I think the money is just an added bonus. So I know we are on a financial podcasting, but I will say this, when people tell you not enough, in their mind is because they're thinking, I need to meet this standard of education for my child. I need to meet this standard of a certain type of workplace that I can be comfortable to be able to continue being there for my kid. And so, we were saying this even before we started. This part is a psychological, emotional enough that a lot of parents feel they can't give.
Okay. So I think I will disagree with the last part, right? So I will agree with you. If the idea is that you just want your kid to survive and not necessarily to thrive, then Singapore very cheap. right? You go primary
still not very cheap lah, but
no, I mean
affordable.
you can go to a government. I think it was in the speech yesterday, right? You go to a government preschool.
Yeah.
You know, after working parent subsidy, you
Yes.
essentially pay what, $200 a month. And then if you are even less well off, then you get subsidies that is like essentially free, right? Primary school is essentially free. So it is okay, right? If you just want to survive. And I think the government is trying to create the conditions so that it is cheap to survive.
Yes.
But I don't think any parents wants kids knowing that they can only survive.
Yes, correct.
Right? So, you know, you always as a parent, I always feel like I kind of want the best for my children. That's why I'm still working.
Does, yeah.
Right? I have not retired.
Yeah.
And that means that, you know, maybe the government's baseline needs to be they provide enough for the kids to thrive. Maybe that is meant is enough. Right? But what does it mean for a kid to thrive is so subjective, you know, but you know, it's about parents having time and energy to spend with their kids. It's a whole lot of government effort lah.
Yeah.
Right?
But you can see this happening already.
Yeah.
So on the ground, like I said, MSF does their Families for Life,
Yes.
which I'm supportive of. MOE does their, you know, different pathways. But you can see that this takes a whole generation to change. It will be my kids' generation when they're parents that they start to say, I don't need my child to be. Their definition of thrive will be very different from our definition of thrive, right? So I mean, I agree with you that, and I always say the baseline.
Unless you start creating higher baselines, right? Then you will never incentivize people to have kids. So like allowing them to survive is not an incentive. I think that is my point.
Going back to the idea of to survive is okay in Singapore, right? To me, the baseline, in my mind, any parent, is never on the cards. You're not here just to survive.
Correct.
Right?
That's why it's not an incentive.
Yeah, correct.
Because we are not
with that said, right, then I really am affected by the fact that you said Singapore is okay to raise kids, because it's not in my mind.
Not way.
Yeah, because for me, I'm like, it's a struggle. It really is a struggle. And to have 3 kids and to make a decision that my wife will be a stay-at-home mom to be able to be with the kids is really, really hard, right? And by no means are we just surviving lah, obviously, right? I mean, we do plan the holidays and so on and so forth. But I know a lot other people in the community who the struggle is so real.
Yeah, it is.
And especially because my wife also volunteers for a group that actually are on call when there is a child that has been taken in by the police or so on and so forth and you need adult supervision. You won't believe the number of calls we get. It's a lot, right? And I'm shocked by the age of the children who get hauled up for whatever reason. They are loitering or doing something, you know, suspicious and so on and so forth. And these kids, all of them standard, all the family struggle, obviously. All struggle. So, and they also are not just there to survive.
Yeah.
Right? So when you say, in Singapore, can one? I say,
No. So sorry. macro, right?
Okay, macro.
That these are ineffective incentives.
Correct.
Because none of us are bringing kids in here just to survive.
To Imran's point, actually, there are many families in Singapore where the kids don't even want to go to school. The parents don't push them to go to school.
Parents don't have time or don't have bandwidth or just don't care.
Or one member
them, right?
is non-existent, you know, incarcerated or something. But you have all kinds of issues. So I think generally across the board, these are done to benefit. Some of these things that are going out there, they would benefit a slightly lower socioeconomic group. And I would tell you that they would see this, like what you said, as a benefit. Right?
It is. Yeah.
It is maybe our socioeconomic group whereby we're starting to say, oh, actually we want more. So again, to my point, money isn't going to solve everything.
Yeah, it's not.
And parenting is very personal too, right? A lot of times how you define a loving family is also different. If you grew up in a big family, there is a very high chance that you either want more kids or you purposely don't want more kids because you didn't enjoy the experience, right? So sometimes I think it's very hard because things like this and also like getting married and all those dating things, again, same thing, you can't really push it down somebody's throat. It's that very gentle, subtle, keep going, and then the next generation.
No, but that's what I think was interesting about this budget. There's that switch that has flipped, that has gone, instead of incentivizing first-time mums, I'm incentivizing a third kid.
Because they start to realize that once you have
give up on the mom that don't want to have kids.
Yeah.
It's easier
like
to
selling
get from
to the
2 to 3 than from 0 to 1.
No, it's true. Like you know,
You heard
from
it.
0 to 1.
So there is a clear switch that has
and all of
flipped.
us are parents, right? You know this. If you really kena one more, you're like, but you go lah.
Yeah,
keep
just
going.
keep going lah.
I agree. And I think that it's actually, to me, it's a smarter move lah. Because really from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and beyond 4, don't care any number one.
Yeah, let's go lah.
The incentive has a higher chance of taking root.
I know. Even
And I
Adrian was
think
talking about
that
it.
people also see more, like you said, we are more appreciative of that. Because if you've never had a kid, we all know this. You don't see how, wow, it's hard. And then you have had one, then you're like, give me the money. I can take some
let's
more,
go,
right?
let's go.
But that's the thing. So it's like, it's a lower hanging fruit. And actually, these people are also more equipped too, because in a way, you enjoy it, you see the benefits of it. I mean, much as we complain, you do love being a parent too, lah. So it's easy. You don't have to convert from not parent to parent. You know, now it's
So
parent
like,
to more.
But are they giving out on the 0 to 1 zone?
I don't think they are, but maybe
there was
next
nothing
one.
in this budget
Yeah,
for them.
I think you are just
Taking a break.
you must sing to the choir, lah. Right?
Yeah.
So I think a big part of you all realize I never contribute into the family conversation, because it's correct, lah. I shouldn't. so I'm not the target audience, but I think there's a whole other part where it's elderly parents, right? Where I think a lot of working professionals have elderly parents, right? Or parents that are entering the phase, lah, right? So previously, I think there were some schemes, whether is it the HDB lease buyback, CPF Life, there's some of these bigger policies that came in the past few years, right? This year, not as much, which is correct. If every year got big changes, also problem, right? So, but this year there was a bit more extension into the whole like matching grant for MediSave and continue highlighting that we can have matching grant for the CPF contribution, right? For retirement purposes. So I just want to lay the ground. Do you all do that for your parents? Is it something that you encourage more people to do? Because it's actually Zheng Hu give you money. Yeah, it's free money. Zheng Hu give you free money to take care of your parents, right? So is there any thoughts here?
Okay, so I'm exactly in that space, right? Because I'm 51 this year, and I started having to really start looking into taking care of my parents in the past 5 years, because my mom's dementia got a bit more aggressive, and my dad's old, and so he's got bad knees as well. So it's been quite a hectic cycle for me since COVID around that time, because COVID affected so many old folks, from loneliness, isolation, feeling detached, depression, and so on and so forth. So that really hit us really, really bad. And I think a lot of my friends are going through the same cycle as well at this age. Arguably, I'm an old dad compared to my peers. A lot of my peers, the kids are a lot older. I started late. So now I have this juggling act, right? And to me, I really am very thankful that me and my wife decided that she should be a stay-at-home mom. And take care of the kids. And so she also goes into that cycle of taking care of my parents. By the way, her parents are in Batu Pahat, because my wife is a non-Singaporean, ex-Malaysian. So her parents are there. So we have to travel 2 hours to get there to check in on them as well. So it's a circus. It's an absolute circus, okay, of just bad knees, dementia, suddenly got a hospital call. Alamak, one kid got his teeth kicked in at taekwondo. And honestly, right, it's just life, right? So it's just constant ups and downs. But here's the thing, right? I mean, I can't imagine anyone else who had like 2 working mother-father situation trying to do this. I cannot absolutely imagine.
I have.
I don't know how to do it.
But it's really, and actually, I think they were the sandwich generation really, really feels it. So I think, again, it's the idea that we support you here, we support you with your parents. The way I see it as being of the generation, I saw it as a plus. It was really beneficial.
Fair. Maybe in closing, is there any other last things you would like to share to our listeners about the budget, that we didn't manage to, because the budget is big, there's a lot of things to extend to discuss. So just in case there are any things that we didn't cover, that you think our audience would care, maybe any last words?
I think progressively the amount of money is going to be driven towards the old age and the aged care will be a lot more as we proceed, because the way I see it, I'm surprised actually, now that I'm in this phase, I was saying, right, that the amount of support that's already been put in place, and now they're putting in more, and I don't think they can stop because of our aging population, right? There's just going to be more and more old people.
Yeah.
That's the basis. But the key here to bridge between the availability of the infrastructure support for people like me and the ability for me to actually find the time to partake in this infrastructure support, that's the key question here, right? Because I'm burning both ends of the candle. So that's key for me.
This is not ideological, it's just reality.
Yeah.
It's just more and more older
it
people,
is,
you just have to do it, right? It's not like, we want to support the people. No, it's not welfare at all.
I think the way I see it is there'll be more balance actually, because there has been a lot of support for the senior citizens actually over the years, and inevitably people understand it. It's justified. There's no one protesting, right? Every time they do this, except maybe the old people themselves sometimes try. So don't know why they do, because I have to explain like, no, it actually benefits you. It's not trying to bluff your money. It's real. But I see it very differently. I think the younger voices, and actually I saw this a lot with this new PM seems to want to engage the younger people more. So
play guitar, TikTok.
No, not just that lah. But he seems to be appearing at more of the younger people. So, and it makes sense, in a political sense, it makes sense. But I think more importantly is the sandwich generation will continue to increase. And it's the caregivers, if you look at it properly, they start to realize the caregivers sometimes will voice out their opinions, but most caregivers are so overwhelmed, they will keep quiet and they're just suffering and they hate it and they think about retirement overseas then. Okay. So I think this group will be the group where they're going to put more and more focus on.
And there's that caregiver grant now, right? In the new budget.
Yeah, so there's going to be more. I am quite sure of this, that I believe if I'm them, I will think about that and realize that that group is sustaining you because that's a productivity group. That's the most productive generation, right? So if I want to really make that happen, I got to listen to you. I got to do things to help you. So like what you say, you're being burned both ends. I support this side, but I'm going to keep on making. It used to be, I support this side only. Now I'm going to support you more because you are the one that's productive and doing all the difference. And you're burning out. If I don't do this, you don't keep pumping out kids, I'm doomed. So the way I see it is this group, that voice will get louder and louder because now that they're starting to do things and people start to realize, I tell you, you listen. I tell you more, right? So good luck. But that's the way I see it, right?
Yeah.
So that's my point of view.
Fair. Yeah, we didn't talk about the caregiver grant, but yes, it is a move. Essentially, government is paying you to take care of, be a home caregiver.
It's recognizing and putting a monetary value on it, which is great.
Yeah,
because once you put monetary value on it, people value it.
Yes. That was, I think, the
not
real
just love
purpose.
and care and good words. Enough of that. Not that those are bad, but yeah. You must caveat right? Yes. Any last thing you want to say?
I'm privileged. I'm doing well. I don't need that support. All the support should go to other people who need more help. I'm perfectly fine with that.
And they never raise your taxes, so not
they raised last time already.
Yeah, they raised last time. So this should never do anything. Okay, very good. Right? So I think in closing, my point of view is that read in between the lines, right? There are certain industries that will continue to stay core to Singapore as much as the Singapore government try to, do all these things to show you that there are many possibilities, there are many ways, fair, but the reality of the market is brutal, right? So there are certain industries in Singapore that will do better. And if you, are okay with exploring these industries, there are always generalist roles within these industries that you can tap on. And I think we did a whole IG post about the median income across different categories of the Singapore industries. Right? And you can tell some of the things that people want, all the love, care, media, all don't pay very well. Right? So, yeah. So, okay, right. Passion. Okay, not doing very well. So objectively, if you want to, cycle out of this, as much as you seek more government support, which I think a lot of us, we are quite in unison of some of these things. I think positioning yourself for the right industry probably can solve a lot of your personal level problems, right? So yeah, with that, thank you for your time. Thank you. Always great to have you. And we'll see you in the next few podcasts. We've lined up a lot of things: productivity, employment, housing, everything, is in the category. 6 episodes to come. So stay tuned, like, share, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.